What made you break up with the person you thought you'd marry? She cheated on me multiple times on her trip to Europe, which she is still on. I saw the Facebook messages on the computer where she was still logged in. Then she lied when I called her on it. This all happened about 4 hours ago. I'm at a bit of a loss. I was planning our engagement. I'm glad it happened now, I guess. Very rough though. Every time we fought she would throw her engagement ring somewhere, make me get it, then make me plead with her to put it back on. Even for very small disagreements and even in public. That was the final straw. It was very fed up feeling begging somebody to be with me all the time. It gave me huge insecurity issues. That was on top of the fact she began to call me names and hit me a lot. It all started after we got engaged for some reason. Things were so perfect, but as soon as she got that ring everything changed. Suddenly she what I mentioned along with calling me a loser, piece of and ugly a lot. Found credit card statement on the floor once, just before a family holiday, thousands in debt that he'd never told me about. I'd been paying the rent entirely by myself in a job I hated, and I was too young and naive to realize he wasn't an honest man. That was it. She was in love with my best friend, and they were both in denial about it. They were engaged a month after we broke up. She wanted to go to Florida for the Disney college program. She is a huge Disney nerd. She was too scared she would lose me. I convinced her to do it because if she didn't, she would regret it forever, and that no matter what happened I would still be here for her. 6 months and an engagement ring later she told me that while in Florida she realized she didn't love me like she thought she had. The ring is in a box in the back of a drawer in my dresser. Her worst fear came true. So did mine. I was engaged to a guy I dated for 3 years and planning a destination wedding. He cheated with a mutual friend one night. His mom, who he lived with while we were apartment hunting, accidentally walked in on them in the middle of it while letting the dogs out. He didn't know his mom had seen, but his mom called me and told me what happened. He denied it when I confronted him, which made it worse. Called off the wedding and broke up, etc. Weirdly enough, he got married about 5 years later to someone else in the exact same destination wedding location / venue / package / colors I had always dreamed of and planned out for us. He must have kept my planning binder and just reused it or something. My mom was dying. It was my last Thanksgiving with her. Without discussing it with me first, he had his mom buy him plane tickets to spend Thanksgiving with his parents and asked if I wanted to go with him. No. I'm not missing the last Thanksgiving I can ever spend with my mom. We will have our whole lives to spend Thanksgiving with your family after this. You're leaving me to face this one alone, or to abandon my mother on her last Thanksgiving. It was suddenly very clear, being happy to cancel wedding plans to do it later, and many other things, that he didn't want to be in a relationship with me, but wouldn't break up with me, because my mom was dying, and he was too nice a guy to dump his fiancée whose mom was dying. To his credit, we remained close friends, and he continued to be there as my best friend and emotional support through her death, and some months following. Although it was 8 years ago, we still chat / text a few times a year, and catch up on how our families are doing. I found out the guy was no longer working when I called to see why his paychecks hadn't come in. I handled the finances for us, and he kept saying his boss would be sending it. It turned out he quit, and instead of telling me, spent the next few weeks pretending to work. Instead he started going to strip clubs on what little money he had hoarded. When I went to break it off with him, he punched his hand through the wall and lost his mind. By the time he finally calmed down, he had turned strangely morose. He looked at me and asked if we could have sex one last time. My response, no. Him after a long pause, sifting through his pockets and holding out a $1 bill. I'll pay you $1 to sleep with me. It's all I have left. Needless to say, he left with $1 in his pocket and no final goodbye. Completely unable to manage money, spent every dollar he came across on gaming and weed and constantly put off paying important bills. Wold dragged us both into bankruptcy if I Wold stayed with him. I moved across the world for him. He kept telling me one day I want to propose. Or I can't wait for you to be my wife. That proposal never came. and I was having visa issues, so after a few years I gave up and moved back. We had been dating for over 2 years and engaged for about 6 months. Then one night, she bit me twice. Then I slapped her once, and she called the cops. We were drunk of course, and got into an argument about something stupid, and I wanted to let it all go until the morning, when we could talk about it, when we were sober. But she was doing that thing she had been doing for a while at that point, refusing to relent until she felt she won the argument. I was going to sleep at her apartment that night, but when she wouldn't stop arguing, I decided to get up and leave. As I was starting to put my pants on, she tackled me in a fit of rage. Then she bit my arm hard, so much so that she drew blood. I still have the scar. I squirmed away, but she grabbed my legs, and then she bit me again, hard, this time on my ass cheek. I still have that scar too, only it's bigger. The second bite she wouldn't let go, gnashing on my ass like a dog with a chew toy. So I grabbed her hair and pulled, then slapped her. She was shocked that I would slap her. Shocked. She called the cops. They showed up, saw all the blood, and that I was the only one bleeding, then arrested her. I was actually kind of surprised by that, but they were reasonable individuals. I did not want to press charges. I was done with her and saw no need for them at that point. Turns out the town she lived in has a domestic violence law that compels the prosecutor to file charges without needing me to press charges. She took a deal that put a misdemeanor on her record versus felony battery and a year's probation. About 6 weeks after this incident, I met the woman who is now my wife. This November will be our 22nd wedding anniversary, and in all that time, she has never bitten me, and I have never slapped her. We had been dating for 3 years, constantly talked about getting married and what our life will be like. He went back into the military and wouldn't commit to having a long distance relationship with me because it would be way too distracting when he's in the field and I pop up on his mind, and he didn't want to commit to a relationship while in the army. So we broke it off. The real kicker is that a couple months after being away in another state, he started dating a new girl who apparently lives in the same state as me. So, lol. She actually was quite the rude person and believed anyone who told her that acting this way is unacceptable as someone trying to control her. She would always deflect and couldn't just accept that people don't like blunt and rude ass people in general. The relationship died. We had very different ideas of what life should be like. For example, he had said he'd break up with me if I didn't get a college education. He also gave me ultimatums, twice, about moving with him to a small town both times. At the second time, I'll let him carry out the ultimatum. After 2 years of constantly forgiving him for cheating on me, it wasn't until I needed to be hospitalized that I realized he didn't love me. When I needed him the most, he told me, "I'm sorry, I can't take you being in there. It makes me too sad. Call me when you get out." So when I did, I told him I just wanted to be friends, but I had nothing against him. Literally a day after I called him and told him that, he made FB official post dating some other girl. Lol, I'm married now and really happy in my relationship. I definitely dodged a bullet. She was already married. We worked together at job you couldn't wear rings. She hid it very well. I was the other guy. Found out when I proposed and had to tell me she's married. To be honest, I'm pretty sure he lost his mind. He was constantly accusing me of cheating, going through my phone and emails, jumping down my throat if I ran late at work, calling my work when he found something he felt was incriminating to berate me, and threatened to throw me out. He took texts and emails he found between me and another guy whom I was dating during a 9-month period where we'd broken up, and used that to berate me and call me a whore, because even though we were broken up we still meant something to each other, and I shouldn't have done it. He was so cruel. He'd put me down and make me cry, then mock me for it. Anytime I tried to defend myself, he'd tell me he was the only thing standing between me and standing in line at the Salvation Army, and to be careful how I spoke to him. I was on my knees at one point, begging and crying for him not to leave me. I loved that man like a senseless fool. Everything kind of blew up when I went to the beach for a day with a friend, and he basically accused me of slutting my way up and down the coast. It was the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. I couldn't do it anymore. I had reached the event horizon for my tolerance of emotional manipulation and abuse. Huge argument ensued. We broke up. I got home, and he'd already packed my and I left right then. I was homeless for a bit, but I had my dignity and self-respect back. She asked me to marry her. She was 22. I was 28. I was her first serious relationship. We were together 4 years beforehand, and I loved her so much, but I was like, are you sure this is what you want? Are you sure you've lived enough things and had enough experiences and won't regret later? And she kept insisting that yes, she was sure, and would I please stop doubting her. We got married. Then she realized she hadn't lived enough things and dumped me. During the following years I thought a lot, dated a lot, tried to find myself. And I understood there is no the one. There is only people who make you happy and people who don't. And sometimes someone who used to make you super happy doesn't anymore. It's okay. Life isn't a Disney movie. It's just about doing the best you can.